In the morning, Eragon and Brom retrieved their saddlebags from the stable and prepared to depart. Book 1, Eragon, Chapter 29, A Costly Mistake. Welcome to Eragon and Back Again, a podcast where we explore Christopher Paolini's inheritance cycle one chapter at a time. I'm Darien Smartt.
And I'm Lucy Hart.
And a lot happens.
In this chapter. It should be costly mistakes.
Yes.
Because I can't tell which one was worse. I feel like there's levels of how bad they are.
There are at least 3.
Yeah, there's at least 3. But yeah. And they all happen near the end of the chapter.
Bam. Yeah, weird. Honestly, why wasn't this broken up into 2 chapters?
Yeah. like 27, 28, and then part of 29 could have been 1 chapter.
Yeah.
And then the costly mistake could have been a short chapter, I think.
Because I feel like short chapters, like Saphira's eggs starting to hatch, short chapter made sense for it to be a short chapter. Like really heightening
like even though
moment.
we did combine it,
but of course we're gonna combine it. You don't need an episode that's about a 2-page chapter.
Yeah.
Could it have been separate, or could it have been part of the other chapter? Yeah, I'm pretty sure we said at the time, but that one I will give a pass to.
Yep, I agree.
So, Lucy, before we get into it, because we're gonna have to get into it.
Yeah, a bit.
You got any sparks of inspiration or geodes?
Let me think. So my girlfriend's father has published like 7 to 9 books. I can't remember.
Wow.
Like self-published books. And so I like self-publishing is something that I want to do, is because you have more control of your book, but it does require a lot of work. Like you are doing the marketing, you are in control of like the editing. Like, you're making, getting it out there. That is up to you. So it can be really expensive. And like back when I was like in middle school, high school, like just out of high school, I was like super looked into that, but I was like, I haven't even written a book yet. I'm gonna wait until I actually have a close to or finished product before I even really dive back into self-publishing. But he actually kind of was like, yeah, a lot of Amazon self-published books get a bad rap, but you can do that. You can go self-publish on Amazon, and it's not, you don't have to spend any money to actually get it on Amazon, is what he was telling me. And so for me, it's like, that was like such a relief, because like one of my biggest hurdles is this isn't good enough. And going into how am I ever going to get this published? And it's like, no, I can just do that. Yeah. And the expense of it is still really daunting. Like, again, like I'm going to want to hire an editor. Yeah. I'm going to want to like maybe even a designer to get a book cover and things like that. So it is going to cost money out of my pocket, but I don't think it's going to be as much as I thought. Yeah. So it was really reassuring to be like, oh no, like once I finish my book and it's good to go, I can just go put it on Amazon if I want. Like that's actually really comforting for me. And then like later on, like seeing if I can do more stuff with it and getting it out there, or like doing actually getting it printed, which can be expensive and things like that. Yeah. So for me, it was just like this, that's actually something, it became more realistic.
Feasible.
Yes. Yeah. And so that was reassuring, very reassuring for me.
Yeah. Definitely can relate to that. Like knowing, like literally knowing people in your real life who have accomplished the thing that you want to accomplish makes it feel so much more possible. It's like, yeah, I know people publish books and do comics and do all these things, but that, even though like knowing it still can sometimes feel so daunting. But then when you're like, oh, I know you as a person. Yeah. Like I have like friends from podcasting who've like written books and stuff. It's like, yeah, I know you, and I see you as a real human being, not like this abstract where everything just happened to line up, and I know the obstacles, and you made it happen. Yep. I can make it happen. It feels possible.
Yep. Because I know you've talked to me about Fran.
Yeah.
Yes.
Francesca McMahon, who's written not Call to the Wild. That's a totally different book series. That's Fran's books. They're about wolves.
Ooh.
Not werewolves, like wolves.
Wolves. I like that. Very good.
It's like a sapphic Tarzan retelling, but with wolves and an environmentalist message.
I like that.
Home to the Wilds.
Oh, good title.
Yeah, Home to the Wild, and then Way of the Wild.
Very good.
Very cool.
But yes, do you have?
I do. Mine is oddly very, very hyper specific.
Okay.
My spark of inspiration is a single page from the Petals to the Metal Adventure Zone graphic novel.
Oh, good. No, that makes me so happy.
Yes. Every year, starting on Christmas Day, I start re-listening to the Adventure Zone Balance arc. We've talked about it on the podcast before. It is my favorite story of all time.
Yep.
It's just so good. Christmas and then to New Year's into mid-January, I get to re-listen to this. And because they've been adapting it into a graphic novel series, and those books have been coming out like roughly once a year for each arc, after I finish each arc, I get to turn around and then read the graphic novel.
I do the same thing.
And I could go on and on about how incredible, like I love a good adaptation.
Yep.
The graphic novels are an incredible adaptation.
Yep.
Possibly a better version of the story.
Yes.
Largely because it has the luxury, because The Adventure Zone, we've talked about before, but in case you're like not coming to mind, is an actual play D&D podcast.
Yep.
Which means it's a lot of improv. It's a lot of figuring things out on the go. It's a lot of getting used to your character. It's a lot of figuring out the story. And even though DM Griffin McElroy had a plot in mind, like had a story, there are still things about it that were purely coincidental in the beginning, that purely fell into place because of things that the rest of his players, that his family and their characters said or did or became in time. And so in the adaptation, we have the luxury of outlining that. The characters know who they are from the jump, rather than you have to find who they are and then experience their arc.
Yeah.
Like, we get to see them from the jump. We get foreshadowing. We get moments that make more sense. We get depth. We get fear. We get consequence. In a way that just straight up doesn't exist in the podcast. Because you're sitting with your family playing a game. Like, in the end.
They had a plan, but they didn't know everything that's going to happen because it is improv.
Yeah. So, like, Griffin had a plan. The rest of these fools didn't. A lot of the most amazing things happened as a result of the players making choices together. And then Griffin, being an amazing DM, responding to these choices that sometimes required him throwing away chunks of the plan he wrote because their choice was so much more impactful. And I love that. But what I want to talk about, this one page from the Petals to the Metal graphic novel. Now, in order for me to talk about it, I'm going to spoil some shit big time. So go ahead and I'm going to put the timestamp of where you should skip to not hear this. Because if you are listening or want to listen, I cannot get some people, I don't care about spoilers. Tell me everything. It doesn't bother me. Yeah, for real. You don't want this spoiled. You don't. I think the thing about the Adventure Zone is seeing it come because honestly, if you have spoilers and you go on to the top, they don't make any sense. You will think I am fucking lying to you. If we tell you how this story ends, you get to episode 1 and they're like, should I roll to see whether murdering goblins turns me on?
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck do you mean you cry every time you listen to this story you've heard 6 times?
So,
I'm going to tell you why this one panel is my spark of inspiration. And for real, if you even think you might listen to this podcast or read these things, check in the show notes. Just skip to that point because I'll give it to you exactly. So it is at the end of the book, and the heroes have gotten the Grand Relic, this horrible, powerful, corrupting item, this Gaia sash that they just saw destroy so many lives from its corrupting force. And one of the characters they're all like, kind of like having a moment, and he's just so downtrodden. Like, what kind of monster would make something so horrible? The irony is that actually this character is the one that made this. He doesn't remember he did that. And so you have the director who's talking to him. She knows. She is aware. She sees the weight of it because she remembers. And she talks. She has this really beautiful monologue about, like, are you evil? Do you think your friends are evil? And she's like, the organization that they work for is called the Bureau of Balance, because that is what they fight for. The world does not thrive in extremes, all good, all evil. You fight for the balance. You fight for the moments, because, like, even heroes can be vindictive. Even villains can be merciful. I gotta get the book.
We gotta nail this down exactly.
The page I love is that we have been told the creators of these weapons, of these horrible devices, are called the Red Robes. And one figure did appear to our heroes right at the end of the campaign, right at the end of their adventure, to save them from a good guy who was corrupted by this magical item and tried to kill them. And he appears to them and they're like, oh, you just killed that guy. That was terrifying. We don't trust you worth a damn. And so we get like a scary, spooky, ooky, scary red-robed lich monster. And so while the director is giving this speech, no person is inherently evil, Merle, nor are they inherently good. Villains can choose to be merciful. Heroes can choose to be vindictive. Our choices define who we are. But of equal importance is what we believe. And I believe for every person you meet who would do you harm, there is a person who would lend you aid on your darkest days. And those lines are spoken over a series of panels that are showing us this red-robed figure, this who we believe is a villain at the time, as they are like clearly distressed and angry and looking over all these plans that we can like kind of see parts of, and then looking over at suddenly an expression of remorse and sorrow on their face. So they look at a photo that we can't see clearly either. And I cry when I see this, that those last two boxes, for every person you would meet who would do you harm, there is a person who would lend you aid on your darkest of days. And I love it so much because this is Barry Blue Jeans, who is their best friend, who will be there on their darkest day to lend them aid.
And he does.
And he does. And that's what I love, is that last thing about lending aid is the moment where this figure, who we only know as a villain, as scary, is suddenly we see an expression of vulnerability. And that is giving us like, at the moment, if you don't know the podcast, you don't know where this is going, like you were really getting insight, like there is something else here. And if you know where this is going, it hits so deeply and beautifully because he will be there on their worst day. He will be there for them. And it's wonderful. And so I love the layout. I love the artist. I love graphic novels. So I love panel layouts. I love how intentional it was. It is not an accident. It is laid out in this way. And
Carrie Peach.
Oh, Carrie Peach does an incredible job.
Just chef kiss, absolutely, entirely.
Beautiful. And just, I love the idea of like, and if you can find courage when you must, then your strength will never falter, no matter what tomorrow has in store. And just ending in this most intense. So, but I guess I want to talk about like the fact that they get to adapt it in such a way, knowing how the story ends. Like my spark of inspiration is looking for opportunities to make that most impactful foreshadowing.
Oh, absolutely.
That kind of foreshadowing that when your audience goes back to see it again and they see it, hits them right there. Like looking at your story as a whole and finding ways to fold it in on together, so it's not just a single page, a single thing you're reading, experiencing. It is viewed from all angles, and I think that the graphic novel does that so well. But that is maybe my favorite page of any graphic novel, any comic. Like that is so strong and so poignant, and is solely from the comic. It is not in the podcast. Because they get to, like I said, the graphic novel gets to see the story as a whole and make it stronger. I definitely think, just, I guess, writing takeaway from that, sometimes you just got to be in the moment to get your story out. I think that's why it's so important to me to, like, have a draft and get it out and then step back and look for ways to polish it together, to polish it, to shine that geode and make it the thing that you want to re-experience even when you know what's going to happen. Because you find those pieces that you didn't see the first time because you didn't know.
I agree. That's very good.
Thank you.
Yes.
So now I talked about that a whole lot. Let's talk about what our podcast is actually about.
Yes.
I'm over here sometimes, I'm like, I feel like I should do an Adventure Zone podcast.
Adventure Zone podcast.
Because I love it so much and could talk about it so
Adventure
much. Adventure
Zone fan pack.
It just, that's terrible. Could not possibly. Maybe only graphic novel, but also, could not. But if anybody ever wants to invite me on their podcast to talk about the Adventure Zone, aka the thing I love most in the entire world, let me know. I just really love it.
Absolutely.
This is me talking specifically to You Are What You Love podcast. Please let me come on and talk about the Adventure Zone.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep.
Listen to my mic. Listen to my audio. I got good audio. I'll bring good audio to their podcast. I won't drag it down, please. But for now, what our listeners are here for, a costly mistake. This is the longest summary I have written yet for one of these chapters. Okay. A costly mistake. Eragon, Brom, and Saphira leave Tarim and begin their journey south. Convinced to share some of his secrets, Brom reveals that 3 dragon eggs survived Galbatorix's onslaught, including Saphira's own egg. Brom and Jode were part of efforts to steal the egg from the king, though only Saphira's was liberated. After a duel with Morzan, the first and final Forsworn, Brom killed his opponent, recovered the egg, and delivered it to the Varden. Vowing to train the next rider, Brom went to hide in Carvajal. Brom suspects that the egg was in danger, and the Varden attempted to send it to him when it appeared before Eragon. One day, Eragon will likely have to join the Varden for his and Saphira's safety, but Brom wants Eragon to complete his training before he's pulled into complex political machinations. When they stop to make camp, Eragon discovers fresh Urgle tracks. The party flees, but are spotted by the Urgles. With Brom on horseback and about to be overtaken, Eragon and Saphira land to confront the Urgles. They learn that the Urgle's master wishes for Eragon to be taken alive. When Eragon refuses to come quietly, the Urgles attack, and Eragon uses magic to defend himself. The cost of such power weakens him to the point of collapse. It's only thanks to Saphira that they escape and return to Brom. So, Lucy?
Yeah.
Do you remember when we had that really long conversation trying to dissect the reasons, like the logical reasons why Brom would not yet want to share this information that Eragon is like fully entitled? Sounds like a wrong word, but I feel like the information Eragon is equipped to handle. Yeah. And our conclusion was like, it's too dangerous for him to have this information as of yet because he can't. So that just wasn't it. It really just was Paolini wanting to drag us along, as we discover in this chapter. Yeah. And I don't cut into that.
I wrote finally.
Yeah.
Because
finally for nothing.
Because it does, I think it is not lessened, but it is like cushioned by Brom says he did. You won't wait. This wouldn't be a problem if you weren't so suspicious. Mm-hmm. But you have to understand that I cannot reveal everything.
That's fine.
It's not out of desire to withhold information, but because I won't give away secrets that aren't mine. There are reasons for my secretiveness. I've tried to protect you by shielding you from the forces that would tear you apart. Once you know of them and their purposes, you'll never have the chance to live quietly. You will have to choose sides and make a stand. Do you really want to know?
No.
It's in that situation, it's Brom. So that could have been said from the get. The fact that
that's what I'm saying from the get.
Because Brom's like, I'm not telling you, I'm not telling you, I'm not telling you, I'm not telling you because of this. And then we would know, and then Eragon would know. It's just...
I would be more happy with Eragon having the fact, like, once you know this, you can't go back. And honestly, if Eragon is like, you're right, I'm not ready yet. I will... Yeah. And it's on Eragon to be like, I'm ready to know.
Yeah.
I'm like, bet. I'm actually more into, like, the character himself is, like, on this, like, arc. But then that wouldn't work for Eragon's character, who wants to know everything.
Who's very inquisitive.
Who heard about a woman who maybe might have been his mom getting a fortune that she regretted hearing. And then his thought was, like, if my mom could do it, so can I. So I will just go back to, I think all that information was just given to us so it could be like, ooh, what's going on? What is it? And then keep us like in suspense for X amount of chapters while we were in Tarim. And now that we're gone, here's a new information that we actually had no reason not to give you when Eragon overheard, or why Eragon couldn't have been in that room when they were discussing.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm annoyed. I'm annoyed. Yep. I don't think, and then I think Brom's reasoning for like, I'm not going to share everything because it's not my stories to share, totally valid. Not a thing we needed to wait so long to be
like
told.
It could have been, what I think would have been a lot more impactful is Brom saying that at the beginning when Eragon is asking all these questions. Mm-hmm. It even could have been put off with Brom saying like, we don't necessarily have time to sit and chat. We are running, or we are going somewhere.
There's been a lot of travel time. We're not getting shot through plot cannons.
Absolutely.
So.
There could have been that, but it's also Brom's like, hey, I want to protect you. Even if he refuses to tell, he at least explains, I'm not ready. You're not ready to hear this yet. Mm-hmm. I will tell you someday, but today is not that day. And then it could have been like,
make Eragon angry.
Right here. So what did they get chased out of the city, mm-hmm. or even like they could have flipped this. They could have flopped this, mm-hmm. where the Urgles thing happened first. Then this explanation. So it's like Brom saying something like, I can't tell you yet. Something dramatic happens. And Eragon's like, okay, shit is going down. Yeah. And I need to know now.
Yes, it's so weird that Brom... Nothing has changed.
Yes.
Nothing has changed.
Nothing no.
Nothing has changed since the last time Eragon's been like, hey man, what's the deal? Except maybe now Brom, the fact that he couldn't, like his buddy stayed in town and he left, he's like feeling kind of nostalgic and wants to like, why did we do this now? And you're right, it should have
really
been
is weird.
Do the Urgles first, make it dramatic and make us remind like freshness. Eragon's like, you keep saying you want to protect me. Denying me information is not protecting me anymore. It's making me more vulnerable. And I kind of want Eragon to call him out and be like, I don't believe you when you say you want to protect me by hiding things from me. I think you know that's not true anymore.
Yep.
And honestly, there's no reason he couldn't have told Eragon this when they left Carvajal.
Yeah.
Cards on the fucking table.
Yeah, I do. And it's especially the what I read, the paragraph that I read with him being like, it's not that I want to keep information from you. I am trying to protect you. Because it's like, as soon as you know that this is happening, you are going to have to get involved. Like, you're probably going to have to get involved regardless anyway at some
that's
point.
The other problem is that hiding this from Eragon is just going to make him unprepared. And also, it's weird that the information he gives Eragon in this section is not anything he has to act on right now.
Exactly.
In fact, the only thing he gives him that he he could have acted on is when he tells him about the Varden being involved in liberating Saphira's egg.
Yep.
And the Varden wanting to have a writer on their side.
Yep.
And potentially Eragon could have said, I want to go now, let's go. I don't care about the Razak anymore.
Yeah.
And he doesn't. But like, that's it. I'm just frustrated as a reader because I feel like there was no reason for this information to be withheld except to we've had a series of not a lot happen things and it felt like this information was just held to bring us back into remember stakes again. Then we get tapped by Urgles.
Yep.
There are the stakes.
Yep.
You could have given this to me when we got to Therum.
Yep.
There's no like Eragon has an egg. Eragon has a fear. There's no reason Brom could not have told him. Yes, so there were after the onslaught, 3 dragon eggs survived. They've been in Galbatorix's clutches. I helped liberate one of them. I've been actually hiding in Carvajal, waiting to hear when the egg hatched so I could train the next rider. It sounds like something broke bad. They probably tried to send it to me and it ended up to you, and here we are.
Yep.
What changes? What changes with us and Eragon knowing it from the jump? Except now we get to live in this, have more stuff. Like, it's unnecessary.
Yeah.
It's just, it wasn't necessary. And then the things that we still don't know yet, Brom's reason being like, there are other people's stories that I'm not at liberty to share is a totally, like, acceptable.
Valid.
And it keeps us from having those really frustrating early scenes with Eragon and Brom where he's just being condescending and dismissive.
Yeah.
And I guess what I'm actually mad about isn't that it took us so long to learn this information as reader, but that we had to spend so long with Brom and Eragon having a contentious relationship because Brom refused to give Eragon this
information.
Relevant information to him.
Yeah.
And we could have actually had them having pleasant experiences from the jump, and that's why I'm mad. I don't like having to suffer through thorns and briars when I didn't have to.
Yeah. I think it could have been just explaining, if not earlier, at least, like, I'm just repeating what I said, just Brom saying, like, you're not ready to know this, you're not ready to know the full details of it, but here's at least some of it. An explanation. And it's like, Eragon and Brom's relationship has improved because Eragon, they've been spending a significant amount of time, like what we mentioned in the last episode, was not spending every second with our characters. In this case, we're not. They've been through training, they've been through writing, they've been through reading, they've been through all of these different times, and Brom perhaps is like, okay, you've trained a lot, you worked with me and Jode to find Dras Leona and the Hellgrind, and so you've proven yourself a little bit to me because you haven't snarked. I mean, you were first snarky, like the first training, but like now that we're into it, you're taking it by leaps and bounds. Like, you're doing so well and doing all these things. It could even be like Brom is like, now that we know where to go, there is a high chance of running into the Razak. Now you need to know this information. But again, just having a prior communication of being like, you are not ready to know this. And even right here, it's like, all right, we are on the road to the Razak and to to kill them potentially. You need to know the consequences or the direct situation, what will happen if you kill the Razak and the repercussions that will follow.
Yeah.
Because that's what he says. He says, if you kill the Razak, the only ways for you to escape Galbatorix's wrath will be to seek the Varden's protection, flee to Serta, or plead for the king's mercy and join his forces.
Yeah.
And so I think that would have been a good, like, lead. Eragon, again, asking all these questions, and then Brom finally being like, okay, I'll answer your questions because of this.
But I would argue this is something Brom should have told Eragon when they left Carvajal.
But that's
because
it just circles back to that.
On this path the whole time. The whole time.
Yeah.
He has been dedicated to this path. And now it's the sunk cost fallacy. You tell him this is the outcome now. What's he going to do? Stop?
Yeah.
Go back to Therum? Like, what are you supposed to do now? It should have been that from the jump. And it's like, it's not, I would argue in like, oh, if he'd been like, I can't tell you to protect you, like Eragon would have gotten pissed anyway and we would have still ended up with the Briars. But there's nothing in that information that puts Eragon in danger by knowing. It actually makes him safer to be more aware of the... Because, heaven forbid, what if something happened while they were traveling? What if he got separated from Brom?
Yep.
And he doesn't know? Because it's not just like... It's not like this is the first time we heard about the Varden. We heard about the Varden way back in like chapter 4.
Yeah, like in one of the very first chapters.
Yeah,
exactly.
So we know. So this is not, it's just the first time that Eragon knows that the Varden work against Galbatorix and the Empire. This is just the first time Eragon is learning that the Varden have any specific interest in him.
Yes.
And it just, I think we talked about...
it blows his mind.
Yeah.
He's like, he can't comprehend that.
We've talked about this before of like Brom failing Eragon as a mentor by not making him more prepared for the magic thing, not telling him about it, like getting angry, not wanting to teach him about it because this isn't the way it's supposed to be. This isn't the right order. Like not telling, like anything could have happened.
Yep.
Like they've been attacked, they've had to run so many times. Like there is a non-zero chance that they could have gotten separated. And then Eragon doesn't know that the Varden might not be 100% trustworthy because he talks about like, I don't want to take the Varden and have to worry about someone poisoning your cup.
Water. Yeah.
Like, because that shows like just because the Varden, they also will be against the Galbatorix, that doesn't necessarily mean they will have Eragon's best interests at heart.
Because they could see Eragon. I think like in that situation, Brom is telling Eragon that they see you as a threat, that if you leave them and join Galbatorix, that's a big bad.
So maybe while they have you, they should just kill you.
Exactly.
And it also like what they say is that like it's been a race between the Varden and Galbatorix. Galbatorix is desperately trying to control the next generation of dragon riders.
Yep.
And so the Varden have been trying to either steal the eggs or kill his candidates.
Yep. And
correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like we know the candidates are usually very young. With the traditional dragon riders weren't like it was children would be presented.
I honestly, it's been so long. It's been a minute. I can't remember if that, but I do know that the candidates would like line up and stuff. We don't know how Galbatorix is choosing these individuals.
Probably, obviously, folks who are most loyal to him.
Yeah.
Likely their children.
Yep.
So they're not just like an adult who maybe might believe I'll go up against you. If you have the child who is them, you can threaten their parents. We don't know, but it also demonstrates that like the Varden are willing to kill. If they're eliminating his candidates, it means they're killing people that they perceive could be a threat to Galbatorix, to them if Galbatorix has them in any way.
Yep.
And so it's vexing that, again, it's like, I think, we don't hear, he doesn't mention the elves. He doesn't mention the dwarves.
Yep.
He doesn't mention who the queen was.
Yep.
And all of that is fine for him not to share. Like, that's the kind of information I think Eragon doesn't need to have. That could put him in danger. That's not necessary.
Yeah.
We talked a lot about, like, Lucy, what you just said about, like, maybe Brom could have acknowledged that because Eragon has, like, proven himself through the training and helped find the stuff that now he's, like, this knowledge can be shared to him. And I like that a lot, but I feel like if that was the case, it should have been framed more as, like, Eragon himself being trustworthy, being capable of carrying this valuable knowledge, which is just simply not the case here. Yeah. It's just that Brom is relenting so Eragon doesn't badger him. Eragon says something about like, well, I need to trust you. And I call bullshit, Eragon. Where are you going to go?
Yeah. He's like, I've trusted you with my life.
But I need to know more.
I do like Eragon finally brings up that it's just an odd coincidence that you happen to be hiding in Carvajal when I found Saphira's egg, and that you also know so much of dragon lore. I can't help but wonder if you had something to do with the appearance of Saphira's egg. And finally bringing up these points and being like, that's really sus,
what an interesting coincidence. And finally Brom being like, you're right, it's not a coincidence. They were probably trying to send me the egg.
Yep.
And it got to you.
Yep.
And and he's like, you still didn't mention how you know about dragons. Yeah, I didn't, did I? Moving on. And that's also fine. Like, I'm also fine with the thing Brom talked about at the top where you aren't entitled to my story. Like, I think that's also fair and not a thing that actually creates tension between these two characters.
Yeah. You know what I think it is? I think it is a difference between information that could help Eragon prepare and Brom's own history.
Yeah, character backstory.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Brom
we want it for funsies.
Yes, for funsies. And I do think that the frustration is that Brom is we are totally okay with Brom keeping information about himself private, but when it is detrimental to Eragon, that's where it is frustrating. Because it 1000% Eragon would have been less frustrated and more willing to travel with Brom at the beginning if Brom had been upfront with at least some of this. Maybe not all of this, just some of it would have been freaking nice.
Yeah. And then the other thing about it is like, I feel like it would also just propels the story further quicker. Yes. Because at this point in the book, we would be getting other information, more depth. Like we are sitting beneath a drip, and I'd like to be by a flowing spring. Yes. Like, it's just a style of writing these kind of fantasy where sometimes it does feel like it's not withheld for relevance. Like, I think right now, this wasn't withheld for actually any, like, I think at least focusing on here are the ramifications if you kill the Razak. Yeah. That's, Eragon needed to know that from the jump, so he could have made an educated decision about what he was going to do. Yep. And it is just, it feels like it's not actually useful to the character, right? It doesn't help Eragon by knowing these things now rather than earlier. It doesn't really help us, the reader, knowing it now rather than earlier. It just feels like it's a way to stretch out the narrative. Yeah. To get that thick fantasy level book. Yep. And I'm not saying every little detail should have been given from the jump. Like, obviously it shouldn't have, but every piece of information he shared is relevant to Eragon and Saphira.
Absolutely.
And like I said, we don't need Brom's backstory. We don't need to know extra details. We don't need to know we didn't mention the dwarves. We don't know who the queen is still. Like, all of that can still be concealed. But, this was relevant to Eragon, and I feel like it was only not shared just so it could be a thing we get halfway through the book, and now we're giving us a big, juicy chunk of information. It was it was just being, held out to get us to keep reading. Like, oh, no, but there's stuff. Look at this. Look, yep. There's lore. You're gonna be so excited when you find out. Oh, your mind's gonna be blown when you find out there were 3 dragon eggs. Oh, wow. Yeah.
And I do think I'm
gonna go to McDonald's. Fuck you. I need your In-N-Out. In-N-Out. Sorry. We live in Idaho. That In-N-Out just opened up and it's been the 8-hour wait. That's the joke.
It's been insane. The joke. It's all right, people don't have to
8 hours for In-N-Out. I would rather go to McDonald's.
Yeah, right?
None of that made any sense. I'm losing my mind.
You're okay. I will say, going off of something that you said is that it really doesn't change anything because almost near the end of this conversation, Eragon asks, you sent a message to the Varden telling them about me? And Brom says, yes, I'm sure.
When? How? Where?
Yeah, I don't know when. I'm sure they'll want to bring you to them I'm sure they'll want me to bring you to them as soon as possible. But you're not going to, are you? No, I'm not. And so it doesn't necessarily, this information doesn't really change anything because Brom isn't going to take him to the Varden until he is ready, which is we could have had this information much sooner. Yeah. Because it doesn't change anything.
Okay. All right. Giving some benefit of the doubt. With time that they have spent together. Now we see Brom, I call bullshit on Eragon being I can't travel with you if I don't trust you. I'm you're not going anywhere. Brom is your father figure at this point. Brom is your friend. You are not leaving. Yeah. You are as afraid for Brom getting hurt as Saphira is for you. You're not leaving, right? Yeah. So potentially when they first met and started traveling and Brom is just the storyteller and he tells Eragon about the Varden, Eragon maybe would have been no, I want to go now. Yeah. Now that they have spent time together, Eragon is more likely to emotionally want to stay with Brom and not demand or try to run off to find the Varden on his own, right? And to that, I would say, that's some peak emotional manipulation on Brom's part to get that relationship established so Eragon won't object to Brom. And I think Brom is 100% correct and be like, you don't want to be at the Varden right now. Like, that is not... He's still very young. He doesn't know... Eragon cannot be put into those kind of situations before he has a secure sense of himself where he will not be so easily manipulated.
Swayed, yep.
So I'm all for that. And I would have actually thought it really interesting if that was, and I don't think this is intentional. I don't think this is intentional on Paulini's part for delaying it. I bet if it was, I think Eragon would have thought of, if he had learned that at Carvajal, he might have demanded to go. But now that he had spent more time with Brom, he was not ready to leave this quest with him. Yeah. That's how I think. I'm like, I like my headcanon. I know it's not canon because it's not in the text.
Yep. I also think you did a really good point, just like building off that. After their conversation, he goes, Eragon tried to recall when he had thought that Brom was just a scruffy old man who told stories. For the first time, Eragon understood how ignorant he had been.
Yeah.
And so it is that, just building off of what you said. Exactly.
I mean, it's like, I also like that piece of writing as just like a reality of relationships of every kind, where when you first meet someone or they exist in the peripherals of your life, you have an idea of them based on what they have presented in those moments. You don't know them until your relationship deepens. Like, I think everyone, you think about someone you care deeply for, whether in any type of relationship, and you think back to the first time you met them and whatever initial idea you had of them, and you're just like, I was so wrong about who I thought you were.
Absolutely. I agree to that. But
I just think that piece of writing is beautiful.
Yep. I agree. But then moving on to the last part of this chapter is...
where shit happens.
Where shit happens. And it happens very, very quickly.
Very, very quickly.
Very quickly.
Where we spend so much time in the castle going through records. And then this happens. So, which on one hand, like, sometimes when things break bad, they break bad so fast. Yes. Whoa, what happened? Things have been slow for so long that maybe this is just us finally getting to ramp up into plot again.
Yep. It's very like, da-da-da-da-da, whoa! And it starts with Eragon breaking his wrist.
Doing something stupid.
And I love the fact that he does it with something just a little careless. Mm-hmm. He just jumps over the stream because he sees a print, an unusual print on the opposite side of the stream bank. So he jumps over, and then as he landed, his foot hit a patch of damp moss. He grabbed a branch for support, but it broke, and he thrust out a hand to break his fall. He fell.
Nah, you don't want to.
He felt his right wrist.
You roll into your shoulder. You gotta practice your falls. You gotta practice your falls. It's like butt back. Don't.
Yep. He felt his right wrist crack as he hit the ground. Pain lanced up his arm, which is like it's such a reflex, and it was like
that's why you gotta practice.
Yeah, that's the first mistake, is that he broke his wrist, and that's owies. And that's just a mistake. It's not like he intentionally did that. It was a bad mistake. And then Saphira is, what happened? Because she can feel his pain, is what we're assuming.
Yeah, she's like, what's going on? What happened? She's like on it.
Yep. And then I love how she's like, I'm coming. And he's like, no, I broke something. I did something stupid. I fell. I broke my wrist.
It's fine.
Yeah, she's like, I'm coming. Yeah. And he's like, no, don't. The trees are too close. And then she sent him a brief image of her tearing the forest apart to get him, and then said, hurry, which I love.
Again, I will never not want Eragon, Saphira caring about each other moment. Like, do you want another one? Yes, I would love another one.
Yes, absolutely. Another one. And then I will say, just really fast, just doubling back on near the beginning of this chapter, Eragon hops on when he flies with Saphira for a while, because it's their first time out of Tyrion, first time he's able to actually fly with her.
Again.
And she does...
She's like a barrel roll?
She does a barrel roll, and they are saddleless.
Yeah, he's like, I didn't know you could do that.
I was like, I didn't know I could stay on without being strapped. And she's like, neither did I. So I just want to mention that briefly, is like how far they've come with their relationship and flying, that he is now comfortable flying with her bareback.
Yeah. They were just I totally missed that. But yeah, I love that they like, it's been so long that he has no apprehension about getting on her without the saddle. He just wants to fly with her.
Yep.
This is me actually learning that she didn't have the saddle the whole time. Where was the saddle? Did they have the saddle with them? Did they bring it to Jode's house?
I think they probably had it hiding with Saphira. I feel like I remember, maybe it could have been another chapter, but she takes the saddle with her.
Yeah, they can't just bring that with them. They can't just bring that.
So it was probably with her wherever she was hiding.
It on, yeah.
And then when they met her, they strapped the saddle onto one of the horses or something.
Yeah, and they flew. Okay, so I do have a couple questions because about the saddle, about the riding bareback, which is great.
Yep.
There's no more apprehension. They're in sync. I love it so much.
Yep.
Her scales definitely have gotten bigger, rougher.
Yep.
Is Eragon wearing leather jeans? How are...
I honestly don't know. It just says by noon, his legs were sore from riding bareback and his hands and face were numb with the cold.
Totally. Now, the problem beforehand was the emotion of the friction of the scales tearing through your pants and rubbing your skin raw.
Yeah, he did. This isn't as long as they flew.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah, so it could be that. It could be like if he flew as long now, it could be.
It would still be bad. Yeah.
But like he's like, okay, I'm gonna have to get off now. My legs are starting to hurt.
Yeah.
So it could be just that.
Mm-hmm. No, probably that. That. That's true. I just more just like. I love that the apprehension is gone. I love that they're so in sync. Yeah, you do still need that saddle for other reasons.
Yeah, for other reasons. Yep, absolutely.
Basic safety. Just like seatbelts. Doesn't mean you're terrified of driving in a car. Yep. It's just basic safety.
Yep, absolutely.
But yeah, then Urgel's attack.
Yes, jumping back, the print turns out to be an Urgel, and I love that he goes, Saphira, Urgels, keep Brom safe. And then when he gets, and Saphira just has him in her wings, and Brom's so mad about it.
What? He's killing your crazy dragon. He's like, you didn't tell him? You didn't tell me to tell him.
He's like, no, you just said to keep him safe. And he's like, okay.
Tell him what's going on. No, you just said keep him safe.
Yep, and I do like how Brom goes from really frustrated, annoyed, and confused.
Well, I would be frustrated, annoyed, and confused,
exactly.
too.
And Eragon says, I found an Urgel footprint, and it's fresh. Brom immediately turns serious. He's just like, okay, yep, all right, let's go. Mm-hmm. And then goes the chase.
Mm-hmm. They're on then Saphira. Yeah, Eragon's and Saphira. Brom's with the horses, and the Urgels they can tell about to overtake.
Yep, and Brom insists that Eragon fly with Saphira because it is safer.
Yep.
He doesn't even chastise what I like. He doesn't even chastise Eragon for breaking his wrist. He's just like, oh shit, okay, I'll saddle up. What
happened to your wrist?
The horse, K-Doc, then do all the things. Then Eragon has the bright idea to land in front of the Urgels,
I mean, it's quite the entrance.
It's quite an entrance, absolutely. And I think it's also his heart again is in a good place. I feel like a lot of his choices, his heart is in a good place.
He wants, to
protect Brom
because to watch the Urgels catch up to him.
Absolutely, and he knows it'll cut them off.
Yeah.
But what he is mistaken for is that they didn't run away. He thought that they would run.
He thought they'd be scared if the dragon was there,
but they didn't.
Not.
And then what even surprises him more is when the largest Urgel talks to him. Our master wishes to speak with you, human.
Mm-hmm. So let's just briefly revisit language.
Yep.
And not just language, but also the ability to learn and communicate in other languages fluently.
Yep, because that was, I can't remember if we talked about them speaking in another language, but we know they do have a language because of the shield.
The shield has markers on it, and I think the shade barks orders at them.
In Urglish, yes, or whatever it is.
Yes.
That was the first word that popped in my head.
It just sounds like little weird, colorful marshmallows.
Urglish, yeah. So there is, they know Urglish probably, and then know fluent English, as you said. So not dumb beasts.
Yeah, like let's revisit when we called them Yes, there is the concept of monstrous. We saw what they did to that village.
Yep.
That is monstrous.
Yep.
But let's explore what makes something monstrous and why the Urgels are monsters, but we don't hear the shade, the Razak, or Galbatorix is a Have we called this shit Razak monsters?
I don't know.
No, we don't call them monsters.
I don't think we've called them monsters yet.
No, I think monstrous, monsters, beasts, that's the word those are terms we've exclusively used for the Urgels.
I'm pretty sure, yes. If again, it's been a hot minute, so they might have, but I don't recall that.
Yeah, and at the very least that wasn't if they were, it was in response to behavior. Acid splashing Garo and burning that's monstrous.
Yes.
But
not
that would
appearance.
And so far it's so important. Just wanted to circle back. Let's talk about that.
Yep.
And then we move on. Because Eragon also didn't know that the Urgels aren't just attacking because, we saw some campers, let's get them. they are specifically looking for Eragon and Saphira.
Yep, they have a conversation in which Eragon insults their master completely and utterly, which is
not good.
Which could be a fourth.
Yeah, he thinks about who could have united the Urgles? Is there a third party?
Yeah.
Not Galbatorix or
the Varden.
Like, who's going on? Like, what's going on? I'm like, that is good job, Eragon. We gotta think about that. Eragon, we thought about that way in the first chapter, but you weren't there for that. So that's fine.
Yep. That's a big thing. It's like, keep your offer and tell your master that the crows can eat his entrails for all I care.
And they get angry.
They get so mad. They get so mad.
You just insulted their boss.
Yeah, and it's like, that's again, the first mistake, breaking his wrist. The second one is tied in with dropping in front of the Urgles and or insulting their master without knowing who that is.
Yeah, and that it feels like, but on my hand, like, for real, I do the same.
Yeah.
I don't care who your master is. Your master is someone who would employ you, who did that to that village. Like, I'm not, and if you have a master, it means he probably told you to do that to that village.
Yep.
Honestly, crows can eat his guts for all I care.
Absolutely. And that's what he is thinking of, too, is that village.
Yeah, he thinks about the village. He's like, absolutely not. I don't care what he wants. But the thing about something that Garo has been, like, that Brom has been pressing on Eragon is that the fact that his allegiances aren't yet known is part of what is keeping him safe. From Galbatorix's full force and onslaught. Like, he talked about how Galbatorix would probably be pissed to find out that the Razak killed his uncle. Because that's not going to help because he would rather have Eragon on his side. Because like we discussed earlier, it's a fight for the next generation of dragon riders. That is what is so important, because you have these eggs. They're going to hatch eventually. We want to be in control of who is riding them, because otherwise that's a threat. Eragon insulting the master, who doesn't know who it is making his allegiances exceedingly clear from the jump, and that does put him in more danger. But also, what was he going to do? Go with him, please?
Exactly. It's kind of... Yes, I agree.
Well, I don't disagree with Eragon, but Eragon does not understand the ramifications of the choices he's making, and maybe that's Brom's fault for not giving him all the information from the jump. But I digress. And Eragon's third costly mistake, Lucy.
His third and possibly not final
Fortunately.
Mistake, but his final mistake in this chapter. The Urgles are like, we'll drag you to him then. And Eragon rose his hand and shouts, Jirda. And Saphira is like, you idiot, don't do that, no! And the monsters faltered as Eragon's palm glowed. Beams of light lanced from his hand, striking each of them in the gut. The Urgles were thrown through the air and smashed into trees, falling senseless to the ground. Fatigue suddenly drained Eragon of strength, and he tumbled off Saphira.
He's not in the saddle.
His mind felt hazy and dull. As Saphira bent over him, he realized that he might have gone too far. The energy needed to lift and throw 12 Urgles was enormous.
Yeah, we don't even think this through.
Yeah, and Eragon's terrified of that, because how Brom described it is, if you use magic to lift something, it's as if you tried to lift that as well.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure lifting and throwing 12 Urgles, which are described as like 7-foot tall, horned,
they're massive.
Massive people, picking up and throwing 12 of them is possibly beyond Eragon's everything.
And it's not just that, it also, not only has Eragon like, oh shoot, maybe I overdid it, Saphira is in danger now, because an Urgle is about to get the jump on her.
And
Eragon can't warn her.
And he can't do
physically
it because
can't warn
he
her.
physically and mentally cannot do it.
And Urgle's about to bring a sword down on her neck. It's okay, she's Saphira, so she just whips around and like
tears him in two.
She literally, with her claws, it sounds like, cuts him in half and then eats him.
I don't think she eats him.
I don't know if she eats him. She definitely bites.
Her talons slashed with blinding speed. Blood spurted everywhere, and the Urgle was rent in two.
It says snapped her jaws together with finality. That was my interpreting of like she like crushes what's left.
Yeah, I just think she just goes like rips him. It's more she rips him in half and then just goes ha,
snaps, and then she grabs
very gently. And I love this. We talked about it before. I think Eragon from Lord of the Rings, where he's cutting off a orc head and then kissing Boromir's forehead.
Yeah,
where Saphira rips this Urgle in half and then with her bloody claws gently wraps around him and carries him away. So it is this it is this reflection of she is so dangerous, but also so loving and capable of gentleness and things like that. I like that contrast.
Yeah, and then she eventually lands. We're back with Brom, and then Eragon passes out.
Yep. And that is the chapter.
That's the chapter. I like it. Well, I did like it. I like the ending. I mean, I did like learning the information.
Yes.
And I think I already have my thoughts. And then the ending is very action-packed, and we haven't gotten that in a while. So I'm excited to get back into a little bit more, like, stakes.
Yep.
Action and twists.
It's definitely, it was kind of slow there for a minute, and then it kind of, like you said, sped up there at the end. So it's exciting to get back into the action. Yeah. Definitely.
Lucy, what is your writing takeaway for this one?
I honestly think we mentioned this before, but I think I'm just going to bring it up again.
Totes.
Don't withhold information just to withhold information.
For real.
Because it's like leaving your readers in the dark can be frustrating, as we have shown. So it is okay not to tell.
Like, you don't want to info dump.
Yeah, you don't want to info dump, and you don't want to, like, an author explaining to their reader something. It can be very tedious, and you don't want to read that. Giving a solid reason for a character not to give information is essential. So I think if you're going to withhold information, make sure there is a good reason that information is being said.
Yeah.
Even if that is being your character who is withholding the information, saying, I can't give you this information because I feel you are not ready, once you are. Yeah. Something.
Because I think otherwise, I think the thing we talk about is, like, it doesn't even have to be a reason that you, the reader, or your character agrees with.
Yeah.
Right? Like, if Brom, early on, he just says, Eragon, you're not ready for this information. And then now we've revisited for Eragon being like, I need to know because I've been trusting you. But that's exactly what Eragon said at the beginning. Before. Yeah. And now Brom decides to give him the information for seemingly no new reason.
Yeah, because, like, nothing big happens between them now, except that
for a big chunk of fucking time has passed, and it's 300 like, pages.
I mean, I feel it's difficult because they have spent a lot of time together, and they have grown closer in a relationship, and that could be why Brom feels more comfortable giving their information. But there was also,
doesn't say that.
But it doesn't say that, and there was nothing drastic that changed Brom's or Eragon's mind into revisiting the topic or actually giving the information. It literally feels like nothing has happened. It also could be that we've just, we as the podcasters just haven't, like, been with the piece for a while. No, that could give distance with us. Yeah. But it has, like, just thinking about it, it feels like they went through that big storm. They traveled a lot. They saw the village. They went through, like, bad things with the Urgles. Eragon started learning magic. They went to the other village. It was just a lot of traveling and some tension and some things that happened, but it wasn't anything.
Eragon learning is skill, but not new information about the world. Except it's big.
It was interesting. So I guess in the long thing, it's like make withholding the information interesting.
I also think, like, and you also point out, like, there's no reason for Eragon to have wanted to finally revisit and revealed the fact that he eavesdrops.
Yeah.
So why doesn't he say, I didn't ask you when we were in Theron because I knew the information is valuable or secret or important, and it would have been too easy for someone to overhear.
Yeah.
But now now we are alone and I need to know.
Yeah.
And I think, honestly, that would have been, I still would have been like, Brom, I feel like you could have told him earlier, but at least that would have felt like there has been a shift. Yeah. And as I go back to they're closer and Brom it could have just been like, I don't want to share this information with you. I think it's too dangerous. Yeah. We, the readers, disagree with that. But now it's like, okay, because he doesn't even say, you're ready to know this.
Yeah.
And I think that's what it is. It's not information that really feels like it should have been withheld from Eragon, and it feels like any justification for why it was withheld is just so it could be a fun, juicy thing to reveal now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think the other thing is, like, if you're going to withhold information for whatever reason, when you finally decide to reveal that information, something better have changed.
Yeah, I think that's it.
All right, what homework do we want to give our listeners this time? Hey, it's still early in the year. What book should Lucy read?
Oh no.
Not that I'm not saying she will, but What's some book or comic? I'll even put me in this. What's something that we should read this year?
Yeah,
What's
I like
a piece
that.
of media we should engage with?
Something,
something that is inspirational.
Something y'all would recommend?
Not inspirational, but something that is like a spark of inspiration. That thing that we engage with that makes you want to create.
Yeah,
what
I like
should
that.
Yeah, what's something that we should put on our docket this year?
What would y'all recommend? Like one thing. We'll say one thing.
I know it's harder. I know it's hard. One thing. And until next time, she's Lucy Hart.
And she's Darien Smartt.
And this is Eragon.
And back again.